Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
After 12 years, I cheated on my boyfriend with my boss. First and foremost, my partner and I are absolutely okay with the fact that we are not legally married at this time. We are also in every other aspect, whether it is physically, emotionally, financially, or in any other way. The two of us had been together since I was 16 years old. He has completely lost interest in having relations with me over the course of the last year or so. I know he is still, since I saw him pinching one off in the shower, and because there's porn on our computer system. When I fling myself at him, I'm not always successful in my endeavors. Previously, we had on a daily basis when we were adolescents, but now I'm lucky to have once every 4 to 6 weeks. I've convinced myself that he does it even then in order to persuade me to let him be alone. Many different things could have an impact on our preferences. He started taking ADHD medication around 2 years ago, and one of the side effects is a diminished desire to have relations. In order to recuperate from a depressive episode that started around a year ago, I'm now undergoing treatment. We are both in financial difficulty and enrolled in school at the same time. At least, that's what I believed. Throughout our partnership, communication has always been a significant factor. In response to my request for further contact, he agreed to make an effort. When I stomp on him, absolutely nothing happens. I sit and wait for him to approach me, but he never does. He is adamant about continuing to take his prescriptions and even refusing to try a different brand. My husband is unaware that I did not experience sadness, or is it disappointment, until we stopped having on a regular basis, and I have told him of this, but he does not agree that it is beneficial. So throughout the course of the preceding 6 months or so, I've sought to pretty myself up, lost weight, and engaged in various activities that bring me joy. We may blame our lack of on his stress, but then why is he it without me, even while I'm there in the home? My talk with him hasn't helped matters this time around. Because he refuses to work while in school, undergrad, I was forced to accept a dreadful part-time job while working on my master's thesis for the degree I was seeking. Despite the fact that I thought my boss was rather attractive almost immediately, I know, terrible judgment, I had no plans to do anything about it. I'd been in a relationship for 12 years and it never occurred to me that it would be a possibility. Just a few months ago, we started joking about at work and enjoying each other's company. Although I suspected it was just me, tension began to grow. I dismissed it as nothing more than my lusty imagination, and dismissed it as such. While I was at work lately, the weather got severe, and the roads were treacherous to travel on. Due to the fact that I work in a hotel, those who had to work the following day were accommodated for the night. Given that we were both at work, he invited me to join him in his room for a drink before I headed to mine. We ended up talking for many hours and became as a result. He used deception to get my attention, and I fell for it. It was the most pleasurable and pleasant experience I'd had in a long time. The fact that I'm feeling so much pleasure makes me feel ashamed of myself. I've never considered myself to be a cheater, and I'm well aware that if my spouse found out, it would be the end of our relationship, as I've always believed it would. My boss wants more, and I'm a little perplexed. This individual is a wolf and he is a kryptonite for me. It was my fault that I had to stay away from him, but I don't want to and don't think I could do it anyhow. For the life of me, I can't remember the last time I had such strong feelings for someone, not really emotionally attached as far as I know. I feel as though I'm locked within a nasty Lady Gaga track. I had to repress all I had merely to refrain from spitting in his face at work the day before. My spouse and I are now going through a difficult time, which may be much more difficult than I anticipated, and I want to assure you that we will be able to get through it. It just isn't happening right now, and who knows when it will. To be sure, I still have great affection for him, but I've never been put to the test in this manner before. Aside from his selfish tendency of refusing to work and refusing to have relations with me, my boyfriend is generally quite kind to me. And what do you do when you have a Mr. Right Now standing in front of you nearly every day at work who is absolutely okay with the fact that you have a boyfriend? What should you do? I don't think I'm looking for justifications for my conduct. Rather, I'm looking for some suggestions. And so much for being known as the pretty girl down the block. Further information is available upon request. No one seemed to be concerned about workplace relationships that have happened in the past. Even worse, I've overheard the GM, not the boss in the dispute, make a joke about becoming a matchmaker for persons at the company where they work. My position, apart from providing a weekly check to help pay the bills, has nothing to do with my chosen professional path, and as a result, I will resign if required. I'm not going to pretend to be the boss, since I'm certain that we both understand that there is no emotional link between us in this situation. Despite what some may think, I have a strong affection for my boyfriend. I had absolutely no idea of doing anything like this. But I was the one who permitted it to happen. I'm aware that I'll have to accept this as a reality. Although he's made errors in the past, I'm not convinced that informing me about them was beneficial to me. Update. This morning, I sought to engage in a conversation with my spouse regarding our lives. He didn't even bother to look at me. When I asked him why he wasn't responding, he said that he had to go to school. He just had 2 hours left till his first lesson of the day. There has been no progress on this matter. Last night, I also had a long discussion with my boss about the company's direction. Our ethical mistake was being debated, and he claimed that he followed the moral code of Oscar Wilde, which states that the only way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it. He then questioned as to whether or not I had anything planned for Friday. So, no development there either, but I must confess that it is lovely to be sought after by an attractive man, regardless of his genuine motivations, regardless of how I feel about him. A strategy to get out of these situations is currently being developed. It remains to be seen whether or not I will be successful in either task. Story 2. Is sleeping with someone else in your early formative relationship considered cheating? I just terminated a long-term relationship in which we were experiencing serious difficulties. My jealousy has been called into question throughout our whole relationship, and I've been doing a lot of soul-searching to understand out where my jealousy comes from so that I can work on it and be a better partner the next time I'm in a relationship. I met my ex when we were both traveling, yet we remained in contact on a daily basis for a whole year after we ended our relationship. Over the course of a year and a half, we became closer, and there was a point when my ex persuaded me that there was no one else, and that I was the only one who had heard from the mysterious individual. We started dating when I returned to my ex's home after many months apart and met their family and friends for the first time. Later, I discovered that there were numerous other people on the side during that half-year period, even after I had purchased my tickets to see my ex and started our relationship, 2 weeks before our second encounter, i.e. during our formative period, during which we were falling in love and building trust with one another. My ex's phone was switched off during these gatherings, and I discovered that some of those people on the side were still meeting with him at parties without my knowledge throughout the first several months of our relationship, which made me feel uncomfortable, that being an unusual thing. Insecurity arose from the concealment and lack of honesty in the relationship, and it unfortunately followed me throughout the relationship, especially in moments that I will not go into detail about in this article. Why did I get the impression that my ex was emotionally cheating while they indicated that I was the only one during our pre-relationship buildup? Also, let's fast forward a few years. If someone initiates and goes out for drinks with someone they like, and the person they like back, and keeps it a secret from me until I find out about it through one of their friends who was also there at the time, is that a kind of emotional infidelity?